Hey guys, this is our first YouTube channel and first video ever called Sniper Panda Bay, where basically me and my friend will be going over awesome theory videos and some future video games, perhaps maybe. Songo King and call me Corbinic. Anyway, we're going to talk a little about One Piece.
Oh yeah, the big One Piece.
Big One Piece, big awesomeness, everything out there, One Piece. So as you guys know, we are just started Zoe, which hopefully is going to lead to awesome arcs, later on Wano Kuni and maybe more detail about the Void Century, as well as the Throne War possibility. So we have to quickly go over some of that for you.
Oh yeah. So basically, the beginning of the Throne Wars, it's gonna be consistent of Kaido, Big Mom, and Shanks. Kind of like a three-way deadlock type deal if you're a Naruto fan.
Yeah.
So recently, what we can conclude is that Kaido.
Well, we know that Kaido wants to start a war anyway, and he has a big zone army, and he's kind of crazy, suicidal and stuff for fun. But before we continue, we just want to point out that Useless Kid, originally was attacking some Big Mom ships.
Oh yeah.
Right, so he's kind of like pissing her off, that was his, I guess, Yonko of choice. But after the alliance they had made with Apu and Hawkins, they had ultimately decided on go after Shanks. And obviously, for those who read the manga, we probably should have spoiler warning ahead of time, but spoiler warning now.
Big spoiler.
Kaido jumps down and basically, I think he kind of digs on the Kid Alliance, and they're probably working for him now. Or they're just freaking dead. So in this case, we have X-Drake, Bizzle Hawkins, Kid, and Apu working together under Kaido, likely, as their alliance. And we're going to talk a little bit more about X-Drake later, but I think it's interesting to know that 4, out of the rest of the Supernovas are working under one Yonko right now that we know of. What do you think about that?
I think it's pretty interesting with the whole. I mean, you either work under a Yonko or you fight against the Yonko. There's no in between.
Constantly fighting against
unless you're Blackbeard.
You're Blackbeard. Yeah, just going on. Let's see. Yeah, I definitely see like the Kid Alliance working under Kaido, and possibly later on, fighting Shanks. Using Kaido to fight Shanks as a medium. Because that was their goal anyway, to take out Shanks. So hey, why not team up with Yonko, take out Yonko, and perhaps maybe they could, I don't know, ultimately betray Kaido and take him out at the same time. Maybe even X-Drake might be part of that. But one thing I also want to go into is I feel like that Oda has been slowly pushing Big Mom faction and Kaido faction against each other. Because a few plot threads I want to point out. Number one, Caribou, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Caribou.
Yeah.
He was in Fishman Island. He had learned about the secret weapon, and he wanted to tell somebody about it. Obviously, Fishman Island belongs to Big Mom. That's her territory, and ultimately Caribou was captured by X-Drake. While Caesar Clown, who worked under Doflamingo, who works with Kaido, swindled Big Mom, and she wants to capture Caesar Clown, I guess, get some money back, payback, or whatever.
Revenge.
And so, but he belongs to Kaido, and so eventually you're gonna have these guys like going at it, Big Mom and Kaido. She's like, hey, I want Caesar Clown, you have Caesar Clown, and Kaido's like, well, I want Caribou, or at least tell me the information about Fishman Island. Ironically enough, Caribou, since he is captured by Drake, I think he also captured Kaido, or at least he knows where he's at. And unless recently Big Mom got a hold of Caesar Clown, all the information is basically in Kaido's hand. But I do feel that Big Mom is going to clash with Kaido eventually, her crew versus his crew.
I mean, and there's also that manipulation factor that's possible by the Useless Kid Kaido alliance with Apu and Hawkins.
You mean like the possible betraying?
Yeah, that's once like they betray Kaido, try to lead Kaido to go against Shanks. It's always already conflict from there from past from Marineford.
Yes.
Because I don't know if you guys remember, but Shanks, when he arrived in Marineford, he stopped Kaido. He helps unharmed. Everything looks normal. He just literally tells them the war is over and everyone just minds their business.
Yeah, I definitely. That's pretty cool that Shanks can just show up and just wreck house like that. I don't know if they fought immediately and maybe take some time to get there to Whitebeard later, but it almost looked like they didn't get in a fight at all. Or even some they maybe just defeated Kaido. But you know, after we saw him, you know, seeing Kaido, it seems like that he's not so easy to just like get knocked over or some pushover. Maybe Kaido's like, well, I don't want to waste my resources on you, Shanks, and then having to go fight another Yonko and end up possibly losing that way. And, you know, his goal was to build an all-zone army, so that's what he's working on right now. So Ryder just reserve his resources and fight another day. You know, but you know, also guys, with Blackbeard, you know, learning about the revolutionary army's base, you know, we see how Burgess was placed in Dressrosa for a reason now. He's probably going to like jump on that and go after all the available information and resources that the revolutionary has. And I feel like this can go two different ways here. Blackbeard will either fight against the revolutionary and defeat Dragon, possibly defeat Dragon, or he might end up taking a different route. Do you think Blackbeard will fight Dragon in his?
It's possible, because Blackbeard has enough power to Devil Fruit power. Still don't know the secrets to his ability and why he has to and isn't dead, because you know, if you take 2 Devil Fruits, you're supposed to die. So he possibly has third power.
Which is a whole other theory which people talk about, the Cerberus theory. You guys can look it up, it's out there, it's pretty cool. But, you know, I think that Blackbeard will play a much bigger role than just fighting Dragon and defeating him and taking his resources. I think he may end up, like, going to the government, or possibly the Gorosei in this case, and try to be like, hey, I can give you the address right now to right at Dragon's doorstep. But in exchange, you know, I'm going to want something in return. And so, I just feel like that would be a good opportunity for him. And if I was Blackbeard, basically this is what I would do. The first demand I would want, sorry guys. First demand I would probably want would be, hey, I want money, territory, and a bunch of battleships.
In addition to that, the territory that he could possibly want will be Impel Down. If he was to obtain that Impel Down, he could possibly get all the prisoners he wants to make a huge giant army, massive army, and you're gonna go on?
Oh yeah. Before we continue that, guys, the reason why I think he's gonna go for battleships is because he's already been interested in getting a battleship, so it'd be a good opportunity if he just got battleships for his entire like fleet commanders, you know, and then that would just add even more power to him, and if any extra territory he can go for right then and there. I do think that it'd be great if he did say like, hey, I want Impel Down as my territory,
Basic commands.
And also like the Marines are going to be like, no way, that's where our prisoners at, you know, collective prisoners in one location. Like, yeah, he can turn into an army immediately. But the Gorosei, you know, how bad do they want Dragon?
Yeah.
You know, like he can literally, I literally offer you Dragon's doorstep right now. How bad do you want them? You can deal with me later, you know, but I'll give you the visit card to him, and you guys can do whatever you want. Because the Gorosei, he's wants Dragon so bad. He's the most wanted man in the world. He probably knows so much. He probably knows about the secret weapons. And I think that Blackbeard will definitely try to get as much out of this as possible. Assuming if the Gorosei screw it, we'll take your offer. All the Marines leave Impel Down. You know, goes to this address immediately, sending over an entire like fleet armada to Dragon's location. But I also think that while they're coming, Blackbeard will take the chance to get any information out of Dragon, secret weapons, anything, you know, before he leaves, any resources. You know, go ahead and talk.
And knowing Dragon probably won't talk, but
yeah,
there's a possibility that he has stuff on file and everything. And with that being said, if he ends up making this deal and gets that transaction and end up having Impel down, there's also that key factor of Doflamingo being sent to Impel down.
Doflamingo, that's right. So Doflamingo's on his way to the island, guys. He's going to be in the Impel down. And assuming if Rorschach agrees to this, and Blackbeard gets all these new prisoners as his, well, basically an awesome army, you know, and the battleships and the money and the resources, a place for him to go for air and territory, make that his basic command. And if Doflamingo's already in there, you know, he could be like, he could tell him the same thing he told either prisoner. He's like, look, join me and you're free, you know, but you have to work under me. And since Doflamingo, he can't go back to Kaido anymore because he can't get the smiles. And so Kaido obviously is non-negotiable, so he's probably gonna try to kill Doflamingo. So he's like, okay, I'll work under you. You got my respect. In exchange, he may want something in return, but I think Doflamingo would take the chance if given to work under Blackbeard. And heck, you know, even Blackbeard might be like, look, tell me something about Kaido, perhaps I can take him out or sneak him eventually, you know, Doflamingo will share. Yeah, he'll basically take the opportunity to like possibly take out Kaido. And I just see Dofi taking that opportunity if ever possible. And I think, you know, in the grand scheme of things, the Gorosei will obviously have the navies try to take on Dragon immediately, which would cause a big conflict. While at the same time, Big Mom and Kaido will be duking it out for the Fishman Island / secret weapons, you know, / Caesar Clown incident. Well, I think Shanks may end up possibly trying to defend Dragon or even trying to protect Luffy and his alliance from getting mixed up in all this craziness. You know?
Which I can actually see Luffy getting caught in this because Kid and Kaido, they're going after Shanks, and Shanks is a friend of Luffy, and Luffy's already told the world basically that he's not playing anymore. He's not gonna play around, run around from the admirals anymore. He's like, I'm gonna fight you. He was really ready to fight Fujitora and Dressrosa. After his battle with Doflamingo, he's wounded and everything, still kind of weak, ready to take him on. He's like, I'm going after these Yonkos. I'm gonna take down you guys. And he's gonna leave Shanks for last. After he finishes them, he's gonna go to Shanks. In his mind, he thinks he can take him down, go to Shanks, give him his hat back. Shanks gives him that little nostalgic flashback.
Yep.
And, you know.
Yeah. I think that will happen too, or at least a good chance it might be. But, I mean, I don't know if you guys ever heard, but there's this theory that Mihawk may be secretly working with Shanks the entire time of the story, you know, doing his own thing. So I can definitely see possibly Shanks and Mihawk team up together, try to go face Blackbeard, right? This would be before Kaido and Big Mom fight, or around the same time, when everything's just going crazy. And perhaps Blackbeard will kill Shanks, and Shiryu and Rain will kill Mihawk. And that would obviously prompt Luffy again to go fight Blackbeard, as Zoro would want revenge. But as you guys know, Yasopp is on Shanks' crew, and so that would prompt, you know, Usopp to go fight against Blackbeard, give him a strong reason to go, as well as the other crew for their own personal reasons. So if Shanks is taken out at this point, and while the war is going on with the Revolutionary Army may be defeated, or at least, you know, cause some serious damage to the world government, but also help supply pirate information to take them out eventually, maybe other secret weapons that may be hidden about. But I think that Akainu, I think he might, if this plays out the way we've explained it, guys, I think he might actually, you know, kill Dragon, or at least damage him enough, maybe sneak him with an attack from behind him. He might be able to put Dragon, at least take him out temporarily, which would just add to the rage of, you know,
for Sabo.
Yeah, for Sabo. Being like, hey, Blackbeard, you know, responsible of taking out one of my brothers, hurting another one, and now killing the man I looked up to. And obviously, Luffy's gonna be upset too. His father's gonna be, you know, killed because of Akainu and Blackbeard. You know,
maybe with the whole his father thing. I mean, you've seen on occasions that Luffy has little to no interest about his father. His father's come out on several occasions, and he's like, yeah, whatever.
I don't know. Even that, I just feel like Luffy at least noted down. Like, look, Blackbeard been responsible for having my brother killed. Now my father. And then Akane is even worse. I think that Blackbeard and Akane will end up fighting against Sabo and Luffy. Sabo will first Akane.
Yeah.
As the Wheel of Ace, as well as defending Dragon, but also Luffy he'll fighting Blackbeard, and Straw Hats will fight the respective other members of Blackbeard Pirates. But yeah, and then if whenever Shanks is taken out, I do think that Big Mom and Kaido can be taken out around the same time. An example would be if Kaido and Big Mom are fighting it out, with Shanks trying to defend them. Kaido can get killed off. Big Mom get killed off first would upset the balance of power, and I can definitely see Blackbeard taking an advantage to kill all three of them if possible. But I think that might be jumping too far. But if we stick with Doflamingo working with Blackbeard, I can definitely see Blackbeard coming along and killing Kaido, and maybe when he's weakened after fighting Luffy or Big Mom or Shanks.
Taking down Kaido, take Kaido's forces. He has a Zoan army.
A Zoan army now, yeah, and all that territory right there, and like you work underneath. So at this point, Blackbeard would have Impel Down as one of his main base of operations. A lot of battleships and money and resources. Doflamingo as support. In addition, he would have Kaido's territory and Zoan army right there, and more underground connections. He would be like one of the most threatening Yonkos at this point if he did this.
More like an emperor of the sea.
Yeah, he would be. He would win the Throne Wars in this case. Taking out possibly 2 Yonkos, Revolutionary Army, heavily damaging the world government because they just lost, a lot of resources and lost Impel Down, and he would be a massive threat. And so we just brought this to you guys, and it's something me and my friend here thought of, and just thought we'd share it. So you got anything you want to say?
Let's talk about like the biggest contrast between Blackbeard and Luffy.
Luffy, I think they're interesting. Two sides of the same coin. Luffy's all about freedom. Dream chasers, do whatever he wants. He's not really interested in power or conquering. While the opposite, for Blackbeard, is all about conquering money, power, territory, being the best of the best. And he's grown the power so quickly. Recently he was just in the middle of Jaya was it when he was introduced, and just walking about doing his thing, and then right as he captured Ace, just kind of, and when he came with Shichibukai too, he rose up ranks really quickly, and in 2 years he's already a Yonko. And if he did something like this, in the Throne Wars or any time actually, it would just shoot him up there. You almost want to call him Pirate King in this case. He effectively taken out Kaido, Shanks, the Revolutionaries, fairly damaging the world government, maybe even hit Big Mom at the same time, while also acquiring information on the secret weapons.
Yeah, it's basically Strong World versus the Worst Generation, and currently Strong World is winning.
I feel like that the Worst Generation will definitely have to work together, unless they're working on their Blackbeard at this point, to work together to take down Blackbeard, because I do see future possibilities for X-Drake teaming up with the Alliance. I don't think Kid would want to in this case, but X-Drake, Law, Luffy, and possibly even Jewelry Bonnie to work together. And why you might say Jewelry Bonnie? Well, Jewelry Bonnie, I feel like she's the only female supernova. I do feel like she'll be thrown in there. She also has some nasty connections with Akane because she was captured and then somehow she got let go. There's theories out there that say that maybe she bargained by changing the ages of the Gorosei. You guys can look that up. It's an awesome theory as well. But yeah, I definitely see that the supernovas will end up coming together to face Blackbeard. So yeah, guys, we thought we'd just share that with you, and like, comment, subscribe. You have any more things you want to say?
None much.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, just please tell us what you think. We'd be more than happy to hear your thoughts. And possibly have more theory videos to come.